How's it going, everybody? It's Man Tomorrow here. Well, thank you guys for coming through on this nice morning. It looked like I have lost the steer tire, so once again, your main man is in the shop waiting for somebody to come change this tire. Because I am not going to go out on the road with a tire with a big ass gash in it and end up on the side of the road needing a rim and a tire. So I might as well just call somebody out to just get a tire. Uh, but we need to talk about this because people seem to think that it's very normal to have this get the bag. It's okay to get the bag. It's okay to not have minimum standards. It's like, okay, we need to go over this because we need to go over some definitions. Because I don't think people understand. Hold on a second. All right. Because this just isn't about the manosphere. I see this type of behavior everywhere. I see this type of behavior everywhere. I see this type of behavior whenever I go home to these nonprofits that I sit on the board of. I don't really participate. I just help set things up and collect. Other people can go out and do that stuff. But this is a socialized thing. It's very socialized. So, like, when you have a cultural standard of not having minimum standards, when you have a culture of personnel who actually want to seek out and go damage and try to destroy others as normal. Because this just isn't a black American thing, even though I'm talking about black people. This is just not a black American thing. Again, once you combine nihilism with sociopathy or anti-personality syndrome disorder, this is what you get. It's like people don't understand that. Like, okay, let's take the black manosphere. The black manosphere was not supposed to help these people. The black manosphere was supposed to give these people the actual information about if they were going to be headed on a certain path, what the actual outcomes was going to be. Why? Because the level of failure was pretty high, and nobody really won this. Let's call it contest within this environment here. So what you have to realize, most individuals, and I mean most individuals, would take the actual information that is given to them and they would turn around and they would make different decisions. Like if you're politically ignorant, you think that you would take time in order to fix that problem so that way you wouldn't come to the conversation with the same complaints about a system that is very easy to understand. You just have to go learn about it. So when people specifically don't understand a specific system, think immediately that they're going to take hostages to get people to that they're going to manipulate a very specific system into caring about them in a way that has never been tried from the standpoint of where people are at. They don't understand that this is all the same subsegment of the same disorder. The moment you start talking about progress, the people immediately tell you how nothing's going to change in the environment and they are never going to uphold any standards within that environment. This stuff has a very specific definition towards it, especially when you have people who talk about this community minded shit who don't have the ability to produce any type of results but want to socialize other people into meeting out something that is not good for them. And they know it's not good for them because they're not giving up any resources to help these people. It's the same syndrome, the same problem. AM1 had a live stream on yesterday that showed a dating coach within this space pretty much saying that it is okay for him to leverage rage and the pain deliberately out of men within the environment that they have no interest in helping. And his excuse was, I just found a way to make money. All right. But that's the problem. The problem is, okay, so you don't want to uphold any minimum type standards. Got it. You don't want to work toward any collective type of power. Got that too. You don't want to manage where you actually put your face. Got it. You would pay to destroy an entire environment that you know is not good. Got that too. You're okay with the get the bag culture, which is watching other people being exploited for bullshit fucking reasons that you know is not congruent to how an actual group actually functions. And then try to say that you're part of a group while doing it, or while watching it go on, or while watching it happen, or being okay with it going on. Like I said, at this point, if you hang around this shit, you're going to be assimilated by it. This is why it's very hard for individuals who come from a cultural background like me to do business with most people who have accepted their actual place within this particular society like this. But you have to understand that it's the sociopath that shut down the manosphere. The sociopath who did that. Now, the manosphere doesn't create sociopaths. They leverage the collective failure and they resurrect the anger of these lost men, sociopaths, women too. But as the definition states, this is a nature or nurture situation. You could come to this level of socialized psychopathy by neglect, and you can also come to this actual conclusion by having all of your needs met, and you could be escorted to the same thing by socialization. So when you have all the answers, because the manosphere was about giving all the answers to all of the questions, Okay, so what happens when you have all the answers and you still refuse to move in any direction that makes sense? What do you do when that's the case? What do you do when that's the case? What do you do when people specifically come out to play with the actual insecurities and the pain of the men they claim to help? Because it's a two-way street. One person needs this system to meet itself out because they get a fake level of representation. A fake level of representation. They are trying to recreate on purpose the same exact system that they claim that they don't want to be with. Like the same men complain about the same woman that they claim that they don't want. When we know full well they actually want to be with this person anyway. They love these circumstances, but they have to pretend like they hate him for some reason. They want the respect of actual men, but they don't want to produce like men. They don't want to be disciplined like men, but they want to be rewarded like they are men. Again, no regard for other people. No regard. Every time you look around, oh, well, they got to the bag. They got to the bag and everything's fine. Like, dude, they got to the bag and they destroyed the entire place. Remember, we destroyed the entire space to help very few people. That's right. You had individuals who was definitely part of all the things that they fucking complained about, and they tried to complain about the issues as if they're talking about a third person. Yeah, that's what it was. But see, that's the problem. The problem is, don't nobody want to look up these definitions to simplistic words. These definitions have not changed. They have never changed at all. But you have to understand that the people who cannot survive on their own want to be the voice of the group. Keep this in mind. Every time that there's a movement, every time there's an offshoot, every time you try to separate, every time there's always the people who want to separate, then they don't want to have any standards when they do separate. And what eventually happens to that new group? It looked like the old group. It doesn't even take that long for it to happen. And then they have the nerve to want to speak for the actual men that they don't want to be a part of. They want to run the group. They want to run the group in a for profit apparatus and don't really care about who gets hurt in the process. They want to go out here, make all this bullshit music, And then they want to blame the government when they get their ass locked up. They want to go out here, mess with the same type of woman that they know ain't gonna do them no damn bit of good, and then they turn around and they complain about the same process that they put themselves in. How can they separate from these actual circumstances when they actually are defined by these circumstances? They don't even bother looking up the definition. These people actually think that patriarchy is dealing with a non patriarchal woman who's very liberal, who has a very specific track record associated with her, who grew up in a very specific environment that they don't even try checking the background of. And when she turns around and does eventually what happens to them, they want to blame everybody else but them when they get in these circumstances. Again, I'm only bringing this stuff up because these things have definite definitions to them. Definite definitions that nobody has tried to really adjust to. Not as of yet. I don't just throw these terms around just to be throwing them around, just to be demeaning people. I throw them around because it's very specific behavior that doesn't need to happen. Yep. You have to go do this thing the hardest way possible. And I'm just saying, it ain't just here, it's everywhere. People attach themselves to a space. They complain about the actual space that they're a part of. They say the shit is clearly for entertainment while they're over in the entertainment zone. It doesn't make any sense. Like I said, no regard for other people. And every time you try to tell grown ass human beings about decorum, they try to tell you that something is literally wrong with you because you want minimum standards and you want minimum levels of protection. Well, to them, they're here to infinitely exploit other people. So you cannot have minimum levels of standards of protection when their actual modus operandi is actually exploiting everybody around them. But that's the point. So you got to understand that there was a lot wrong with these people before they came to the manosphere. It's just that we wanted to weaponize these people for personal profit. Now, I had no problem avoiding these individuals throughout my regular life. I had no problem with it. Like I don't have any problem avoiding them right now. Because I know overall, if you keep these people around long enough, they eventual prior situations do come out. And they do try to hurt, harm, and try to destroy everybody around them. That's just a fact of the matter of what these people do. I'm not saying they're sociopaths because they're black, because there's actually corporate ones too, military ones too, police force ones too. But I'm talking about the people who specifically came to the manosphere to shut it down by not having minimum standards and then actually not supporting the people who actually did want standards and then claiming that, oh well, you know what, these people just can't work together. I'm like, bro, listen, the people who can separate can always work together. That's the whole point. That's the point. The point is, what happens when you have all the answers and you still refuse to move toward the solutions that are in front of you because you were too caught up in maintaining the current environment? How is the manosphere supposed to fix that? How's how is the manosphere supposed to overcompensate for an actual woman's choice in husband, supposed to overcompensate for the actual individual who was put in this environment to have his sights solely set on the incorrect level of masculinity, have his sights solely set on benefiting from something that he never built, that he never contributed to, which is the masculinity piece in the first place, have abject hatred for the productivity piece, especially if it's by legal means, especially if it doesn't destroy others. Like, I think that they kept wanting us to take the downfall for the kids that they actually put here. They expected the manosphere to fix all of these people. They literally did. They knew that there was a lot wrong with these people before they even came here. But that's the problem. The overall goal is to be with the person that you know you ain't supposed to be with, to face the consequences that you claim that you don't want. So that way you can end up on child support, a place where you thought you never wanted to be. And this cycle keeps replaying itself over and over and over again. Because whenever they see normal, rational human beings that don't operate like them, we need to be purged, we need to be destroyed, we need to be removed. The manosphere would be better off if it wasn't for people pointing out the problems around here. Same people who sit up in these camps, watch all this bullshit go on, and try to pretend like they're normal human beings after they're friends with the people who abjectly destroyed this place. I mean, antisocial personality disorder has a very specific definition. Being a sociopath have a very specific definition. But when you accurately point out things that are actually a problem, you be the person who pays for it. Now, what's different today is that you have a lot of people who now know because they lived through it. They lived through it at this point. They lived through it. That's why the kids are stepping off. Why? The kids lived through it. They lived through the circumstances that their father and mother put them in. I'm obviously Generation X. I have younger kids who parents that I went to school with, and once they got their stuff together, they stepped off. I mean, like they stepped off, like away from the idea of family because the artificial conditions that they were held in they realized didn't need to happen the moment they got their money right. And they got their money right before their parents got their money right. And once they got their money right and realized that, wait a minute, if I got my money right and I ain't got these problems, how are my parents doing worse off than I am? Then they just step off. And now those people got to infinitely watch their back because the very people who they trusted their entire lives did not truly give a damn about them. That's a very hard thing to come to grips to, especially as a younger individual. Like, who do you tell when everybody's on the same bullshit? Who do you tell? Who do you speak to? When you see so many people act out this same bullshit every single day, who do you talk to? Sorry about that, I got a phone call. But here's the thing. You got to understand that, bro, we're on the ground floor of getting our shit together as a culture, as men. We're on the ground floor of doing that, right? We're on the ground floor of separating from this degenerate sociopathic behavior. We're on the ground floor of separating from that shit. We're on the ground floor of it. Oh, so shout out to people who came here. Terrence B was going on, LOM, XC, NJ Profit, Derek McKinney, D1 Trade, She We Here, Panther God, Deacon Little, Ike Ogerman, Eric Bird, Jackie Nick Kenobi. Sorry, man, tire guy here. Let me talk to him real quick. Yeah, but that's where we're at though. That is completely where we're at right now. Let me get back to these names. I think I stopped at. Yep, B Mays HD. What's going on? Reasonable Man. What's going on? I ain't seen you here in a while. Guy King. What's going on? Kobe Bryant Intellect. What's going on? James Sandman. Lloyd Sky 9. Mr. Rome. The Inquisitive Prince. D. Eric Ingram. Lil Rock 0909. Roger Spice. Eric Bird. Mike B. Yeah, man, but this is currently where we're at, though. Dude, you don't know how good shit is about to be for dudes who got their shit together, who's about to be productive. There's a lot of people doing a lot of great things in politics, a lot of people doing a lot of great things in science and technology. Dude, the people who are on this relationship shit, bro, they don't even matter in society. They don't even matter because they're trying to meet out the same circumstances that they never seen completed. These people have never lived under no patriarchy. They've never been with no feminine woman. They've never been with no conservative woman. They've never even known what submission is. So they've been on this dummy quest for such a long goddamn time that they don't even understand these things. But they chase them. And you have to understand that when you're not here to solve problems and you're given a voice that you've never had, that you don't want to give up, you have to say that you're okay with the environment consistently being destroyed in order for you to be comfortable. And that person is a threat and a danger to society at that point. You clearly can't say that you care about how things work and operate, but you keep making something the center point of your ass being here that clearly don't need to be the center point. People came to the Manosphere to have a career talking about women. They did this shit on purpose. Why? They didn't care who they had to exploit. They just seen some easy shit that they thought they was gonna get off into, and that was just gonna help them. They don't even care about it. They don't even care about who they hurt, who they harm, who they destroy, who they mislead, who they waste the time of. Dude, they don't care about any of that. Dude, so much of this stuff don't matter on so many levels. It is crazy. A lot of these people just don't want to own up to the fact that they're on the wrong road. And I keep telling you, man, this shit is not about money. It's not about money. It's about the feeling of importance too. I think that's more important than money, especially when you know you ain't shit and the only thing that you got is misleading a whole bunch of crazy ass dudes and you know how they gonna end up and you willing to ride their back all the way into oblivion. That's crazy. Leading people back to a negotiating table so that way they can have the eventual outcomes that you had or even worse at this point. That's crazy. Deliberately gaslighting these dudes into thinking that they have all this fake ass representation that the world is bowing down to their needs because they held themselves artificially hostage and stagnant so that way the world can actually care about them being a victim. Crazy. Oh, I know. That's why you have to be able to make sure that you put this stuff out there so far. This stuff is out there so far out there because they're going to keep doing the same thing. But you have to remove all of the plausible deniability out of the people who are helping them be involved with it. Because see, once you make it normal to remove the plausible deniability, because that's what this is about. It's about running them out of all of their arguments. It is about correcting most of the things that come out of their mouth, especially when it's wrong. It is about letting these people know that they're not really here to make things better. Because remember, they weren't capable of bringing value to the manosphere. Therefore, the manosphere couldn't be valuable to anybody else. That's what the issue was. It wasn't the space in its actual mission. It was the fact that somebody joined up for a mission that they couldn't even help complete. So they wanted to damage and destroy the actual intent of an actual space because they couldn't add to it. They want to sabotage and destroy it because it was actually going to help people not feel like them at the end of the day, not end up like them at the end of the day. I forgot who it was, but a couple live streams ago, the guy made the comment and he said, the manosphere is the actions that you take as soon as you turn this live stream off. Because this place ain't full of nothing but answers. It is full of nothing but men that you don't want to be with in high number. It's full of nothing but women who will stab your ass in the back in a heartbeat. And you've seen it happen time and time again. And it's the same women. It's not different women. It's the same ones. But a lot of those people look at all those things and be like, you know what? I still think I can make this stuff work anyway. It's the concept that you need a dating coach in the first place, guy. You don't need a dating coach. I didn't need a dating coach when I went to another culture. Productive men was just rewarded like that. You don't need a special teacher to get you into a situation that your quote unquote coach haven't completed. You don't need a dating coach. You're only going to need help with a problem if you're going to deal with problematic people. I don't think you need a dating coach. I've never thought that you actually needed one. Why? Because my father didn't need a dating coach. My grandfather didn't need a dating coach. My uncles didn't need no dating coaches. Dating coaches is nothing but a symptom of somebody needing access to an actual problem without a particular solution. I don't think you need that. But I understand a lot of these people got this new and recent access to this woman. She have all these problems associated with it. And you need, some tech support to get you kind of through that. Well, this is not a place for you. The Manosphere is not a place for bitch tech support. If this is where you decide to spend your time, you have to face the consequences of where you decide to spend your time. You can't make the issues of your dick a whole community-wide issue. That's a you problem, not an us problem. Yeah, but that's the problem. I mean, like people know what this stuff is. Like you don't need additional help if you got to the wrong person. Like if you're with the right person, dude, like you don't need no additional help like that. You just don't. But see, you can break this entire cycle now faster than you ever could. The only thing you have to do now is simply avoid them. Simply avoid them. Don't hire them. Don't team up with them, and don't date the type of women that would allow them to be them. Problem solved. Refuse to do business with the get the bag culture dudes. Refuse to hang out with them. Refuse to fellowship with them. Refuse to break bread with them. Refuse. Abject refuse to do any of that stuff. Because it's your responsibility at this point to make sure that this stuff doesn't happen again. Yeah. Hell yeah. I mean, like, how can you just separate from the black BS and just walk over into somebody else's shit? Like, nah, man, like, bro, like, you got to be able to survive all by yourself without any of this shit around in any shape, form, or fashion. It may seem radical. And it may seem boring as shit, but it's overall what needs to happen. You see, for me, it's simply not enough for me to fix their issues. It's enough at this point to prevent this problem from ever happening again. That's what my mission is to prevent this problem from ever happening again. If they're going to create child soldiers and deliberately try to tank our culture, then we are very rightfully obligated to weaponize every one of these child soldiers with the productivity piece. Weaponize these children with exactly how these things are going to turn out. Make sure that these children are actually strong enough to survive by themselves. Make sure these children, actual carcasses, are not being picked clean by the actual parents that socialize them into being weak. It's our obligation to make sure that these people learn and know the truth. Not walk the path for them, not do the work for them, but let them know exactly how this stuff works. Say it again. Say it again. But see, too many people are actually the whole being is kind of predicated among staying within this environment and putting up with all the deliberate consequences associated with it. I'm just saying that you ain't got to do that. You ain't got to do none of that. You let these people stay here who want to be here. Because trust me, a lot of these people are sexually fed by the same women that they complain about. And they feel right at home. So I wouldn't be too worried about these individuals who are losing. That, that, that is not something that you should be worried about. You should be worried about where you're going. Because most of the socialization process by these individuals was meant for you not to take individual actions unless you can feed everybody else's concerns. That's what it was. Their idea of community was community benefit, not a community of people putting in the work. And you got to understand that this stuff is a desocialization period. You have to detox from this shit. This stuff has to seem like a foreign object to you. These circumstances, these personnel, these people, your lack of peace when you go around these people, that has to be so foreign to you. And yes, you have to build a whole identity without these people around. You have to. This is why I'm so steadfast in dismissing most of these individuals, because at the end of the day, I know that they don't mean me no good. And I also know at the end of the day, they got used to things that they never should have got used to. But you have to understand that living under this covenant of needing the actual protection of the Bravo Alpha November has really messed up the way a lot of these people think. They think every man's weak because they had access to weak ass dudes as a culture. And I'm not here to make women or even men re-respect men. I don't need to do that. I can survive by myself. I don't need your help. I have a whole business. I don't need your women. I got a woman on my fucking own. I don't even need to be doing any of this stuff, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Because it's more important to make sure that this stuff never happens again rather than leaving these people to their own devices and hoping that they get it. No, 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 no. If I leave, then this stuff will be 10 times worse than it ever was. That's why it's vitally important that you keep correcting the record. Because they cannot give you a level of solutions. There's nothing wrong with the password bros. Password bros was an individual decision making process. Actually, when you join a group, the way you act within that group shows exactly what your actual intentions were. That's why there's really no need to talk about the passport bros or SYSBM or being an expat. It doesn't matter because we don't have to explain anything to anybody. We walk off the field. But there's a lot of people who feign passport bros just so that way they can go fight back with the same women that they was listening to online being bitched at and humbled. That's why there's really no need to talk about it. Because if you ain't going out there traveling, if you really ain't getting your stuff together so that way you can travel, if you're really just trying to do this stuff on a shoestring budget, then there's no help for you anyway. But you have to not turn the passport situation into the black manosphere. You can't turn the passport situation or SYSBM into, trolling women. If you're gonna leave, then just get up and leave. You ain't gotta announce your departure. You ain't gotta tell nobody you ain't got no passport. You ain't gotta check in with nobody. You can just get off the field and stay gone. You ain't gotta make no announcements to anybody. Unless you want them to watch you leave. And if you're trying to make them watch you leave, then that means your ass ain't really gonna go nowhere. And you ain't gonna go that far. Of course they did. Yes. Then it became all about putting women on camera, like all the whole shit that we wanted to get away from. They started to turn that new group into the old situation that they left. That's why you ain't got to worry about it. If you have an idea of one of the cultural outcome, you're not going to make all these same mistakes. You're not going to set up a whole platform based off of you living off the collective pain of men, trolling women. If you actually wanted to get the fuck out of here, none of that stuff would matter to you. You wouldn't even be attracted to that message. What's going on, Alonzo? You wouldn't even be attracted to that message. But like I said, I'm glad all these problems are here because you have to see what people are attracted to despite having the answers to everything. You need to see that. Don't be disheartened when people take shit out of context or when they absolutely outright destroy it, dude. Don't don't feel bad about any of that. These individuals wanted to do this stuff on purpose. They're not stupid. They wasn't born yesterday. They're looking for things to exploit. They're looking for things to damage and destroy. And it's always something that they didn't build. How easy it was to dodge the problematic women and just keep it moving. That was too much for some dudes. They had to let this woman know that they weren't interested in her. I don't know what that did on either side of this coin. I don't know what that did. I don't know who that helped. I have no idea. I'm married. What are you talking about? There you go, Xanatos Clutch. That's what I do too. I travel places that these people ain't gonna show up at in high number. Even though it's a large black Afro Latino population, you don't see many people popping up in like you don't see nobody popping up in Mexico like that. Not in those areas. Veracruz, you don't even see white people down there like that. That's a college area of international students. And you gonna feel out of place not knowing how to speak Spanish. Well, luckily, I got a translator under the roof when I do go. But yeah, that's where it is, man. It's all about being around different people who have different cultural outcomes that I want. Not being around people who got cultural outcomes that I do not want. Yeah, that's all it is. Well, actually, you're kind of right because the people who are quote unquote so called in happily married relationships are here too. But not only are they here, they're here and they claiming that they know a hell of a lot more about female nature than these dudes do. Then you figure out that they're getting cucked up behind the scenes and all this kind of other stuff, and they have to just deal with it. So actually, they came here to complain about their own circumstances. Like you have people here who are married and they're here just trying to get men to bow down to the actual circumstances. Why? So that way they can feel better about what they're doing. And a lot of these people are in relationships with the same women that they complain about. So with those individuals, yeah, you should have had them kicked out of here a long time ago. But then again, you get to kick them out of there in a different way. Just don't do business with them. but but a lot of these people came here for this cool uncle time though. That's why a lot of these people here. They're here for the cool uncle time. They're here for the cool uncle nonsense. Where they have the answers to everything. They don't try to socialize anybody out of anything, and they just want to hang around the problem. A lot of these people are on that type of time around here. They're not trying to fix any of these things. Same people who got their shit together are deep off in the mago zones with the problem. Make that make sense to me. But hey, I'm not sure what you're gonna be able to do with that, but that's what that is. And there's nothing you're gonna be able to do about it. Like, dude, you got more answers than anybody right now. And you gotta be okay with being alone and being away from these people and creating a new paradigm and not having these people's opinion matter and not being socialized into a community full of full of people who benefited off of the collective. They're looking for relief pitchers right now, man. No, I mean, but he just plays with the trauma of these dudes, man. He just plays with the trauma of these dudes. Yes, you ain't never seen nobody like him around growing up. You never seen somebody around with a PhD talking about trauma and all that type of bullshit. Not with productive men around. No, you ain't never seen that shit. They would they would never allow somebody around who plays with people's fucking trauma, bro. My grandfather and my uncles never would have stood for that shit. Non-productive, liberal arts major, no organization for 'em. You got a PhD, but you ain't commissioning no studies. You ain't meeting with no school systems. You ain't doing none of that shit, but you want access to even more kids? Bro, that shit would never happen, man. It would never happen in an organized society. It just wouldn't. I don't even know who that is. So what is his channel about? Because I don't really see him on nobody's panels or anything else. What is his channel about? 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 What is h That's all it is. Tour guide of the hood and walk you right into them circumstances and consequences. But these are not things that you got to worry about all that much. You ain't got to worry about them things all that much. Just know this: they're here because the society is broken and they have to keep it broken. That's what these sociopaths have to do. They can only deal with a broken society. They can't work toward a functional society. They don't even know what that shit's like, and they're not working towards it. This is the payment. This society is the payment. This woman is the payment. This broken woman is the payment. This is the payment. They have an infinite situation that you ain't got to attribute to, but ain't trying to see change either. That's all it is. Listen, man, this stuff is easy to me. I've been desocialized out of giving a fuck about this shit a long time ago. Yeah, my grandfather and father did a good ass fucking job making sure that I never cared about this shit. My mother did a good job making sure that I've never looked at people by skin color and think that they my goddamn sister or think that we part of some artificial ass fucking community. No, no. Especially online. Talking this stupid shit online about the community. Come on, nah. Oh, we friends when you need shit, but we ain't friends when I needed shit. But somehow I got to keep my mouth closed about the past while you run your mouth about your past. Okay. All right. Okay. All right, man. That's what I'm saying. Not only that, if all these dudes are prosperous and happy and moved on to regular ass women, there ain't no need for no dating coaches. There ain't no need for no gaslighting ass fake representation. Like, dude, there's no need for any of that stuff in a working society, man. So why would people deliberately work towards a non-functional society? Why would they do that? Why would they work toward a society where the woman benefits by being in charge? Why would they do that? Why would they do that? Well, I left home at an early age, man. Like I left home at like 17. Like I've already had access to other women. You have to act. You have to understand, man. Like brother, you're trying to treat straight up acculturated hoes like women because this is your only type of women that you have access to. I suggest you get your shit together. And if you're having woman problems, then you fucking deserve them because these are not women. They're not women anymore. They haven't been women in a very long time, and you'll be a damn fool to treat them like a woman just because you want sexual access. Don't be no damn fool, man. I'm not gonna treat them like they want, man. Fuck that. I'm not gonna do that. You'll be treated that way when you provide something. Then we can start talking about whether or not you want all this ancillary protection, man. Other than that, they chose their protectors already. I'm not a public servant. You need some help, call 911. You might you're not about to have me out on here on some dummy missions trying to protect motherfuckers. Nah, man, I ain't doing that shit. Yeah, but we ain't trying to make this shit about women. But I think women are easy, provided that they still women, provided that they still respect the shit that men bring to the table. But when people that you think are women look at shit that men bring to the table and be like, and what? Yeah, man, start moving, man. Those ain't people you need to be dealing with. Hell yeah, it is an excellent time to be an incel, folks. It's an excellent time to be an incel. Not be an incel going around gaslighting and trolling women. Not that goofy shit. I'm talking about just not being held down by the burden of a woman like these so-called players and these fake ass pimps and these married dudes who know so much about female nature. It's time to do the opposite of that shit, man. Bro, go get your shit together and go have some fun, man. Call man had a little twin. Yeah. I mean, but I don't even worry about those people, man, because I think those things are just fakes. All these street dudes wasn't getting women like that. That's not what that was, man. Just because these dudes was dumb enough to be used for petty crimes in the community doesn't mean that they was rewarded by sex by doing so. Most of those dudes were simps too. Sure were. Yeah, man. Like, bro, I don't even worry about low-minded and low-brain bullshit like that, man. Yeah, but once you understand, bro, like you ain't got to hold up this system. They have to hold up this system. This is their system. This is their system. It is not yours. It does not need your productivity to keep it going. It don't need it. You're hereby obligated to leave this shit alone. Leave it alone. Leave it out there. You ain't got time to be dealing with or worrying about any of this stuff. This ain't got nothing to do with you. Nothing. Yeah. But this whole sociopathic piece, man, like, bro, like we gotta start hitting on that, man. Like, a lot of people are here to just feed off the environment. And when they can't get what they want out of the environment, they just fucking leave. That's what it is. That's why everybody's leaving the manosphere. Why? All the people leaving the manosphere was the people who wasn't even providing value to the manosphere in the first place. Your content is the value that you bring to the manosphere, not these bullshit ass analytics. They don't mean anything. Analytics? You mean you get analytics off of destroying this place and you gotta throw that shit up in our face? For real? That's where we at? Bro, it's crazy. Yeah, man. I try to stay out of them zones, man. I go to Mexico and other places. I don't even go there. I probably go to the DR because it's close to, like, to the states. But all these other places, these people going, man, I ain't never seen that shit. Because when I jump on a plane and I fly for 5 or 6 hours, the last thing I want to see is a fucking domestic American citizen. No, I don't want to see that shit. I want to feel like I'm in another place because I deliberately traveled to another place not to look at these motherfuckers. That's why I went there in the first place. Yeah. Listen, man, it's always the mind state before you leave. The mind goes and the body follows. The mind goes and the body follows. But a lot of these people are in the mind stays and the body stays. Leave them out there, man. That's why I went to Asia too, man. That's why I went to Asia too. I didn't speak Spanish. I deal with a person who speaks multiple languages. Don't know how that works, but hey, come from a good family. That's all I require. Hey man, I know you new around here, man, but we don't even acknowledge those type of personnel over here, man. Yeah, man, we don't acknowledge those type of personnel over here. We don't. I don't want to listen to nobody who have any tips about how to deal with the modern domestic. I have nothing to listen to from those individuals. Yeah, of course they were. Yes, they were shuttling men into a system that they didn't fix. Now we got all these, strategies, but you still got these Hollywood superstars going down over basic women. Well, we got dudes with all these strategies, though. No, man, like they just came to a bunch of disaffected simps, gave them a whole bunch of useless information. They went out there, got torn out the frame. They didn't even try to hold these people responsible for giving the fake information. They knew the information was fake when they got it. They just wanted to feel better. They wanted somebody to feel their bullshit pain, man. So that is all. Yes. They're trying to lead you into these bad situations for their overall outcome. That's all. Not hard. Yeah, man. Like, you mean to tell me that you got all these answers, but the medical career field is not acknowledging these answers? The psychological career field is not acknowledging these answers? You're not being called as an expert witness in no court case, but you got the answers to shit? Come on, man. Come on, man. Gotta be better than that, bruh. Gotta be better than that. Yeah, I really don't care about them as a whole anyway. I don't care how much money they got. They weaponize the same problem across the culture despite how much money they got. So why would you even look to them for any type of verification? If they're going to still really lose to the same women that they ain't got no business losing to, yeah, what's the point? If you're going to deliberately lose to the same people that you shouldn't even be playing against, you got to make sure that you're not keeping this shit going for them. You got to make sure that you got to stop keeping this light on for them. You win more when you refuse to play. Refuse to play. Listen, man, bro, you got grown ass dudes who came out here online talking about the relationship piece when ain't nobody winning with this motherfucker here, man. That shit was crazy. Say it again. Hey, I mean, that's his individual household because their sons had to get out the house and produce at 18. The women in Shaquille O'Neal's situation got to stay at home for as long as they wanted to stay there. So, yeah, I get it. It look like they're done with this tire, man. So let me get back on this road, all right? I want to thank you guys for coming through. It's vitally important that you understand that you're not to keep this stuff up. You got to leave it to them. Remember, they're the ones who's trying to keep it up for each other. It's your job to separate from this stuff. You're not responsible for any of these things. They're responsible for it all. All right, man. Make sure y'all keep safe out there, man. Make sure y'all like the video on the way out. On the man tomorrow, you guys have a really nice rest of y'all day. Peace.